guys are at as a team right now.
Talk about what happened on the 2 picks.
You're there to win championships, obviously. Do you think anything differently about
when
this team?
things start to snowball, what does that feel like?
Are you okay?
RELAX. Relax. So because of one game, what is it that you're implying, Mark?
Our team's figuring you out.
1 out of 5. This is, I believe, an anomaly, not the beginning of a trend, and we got a chance to prove me right next week.
Yes, they do. We all saw Aaron Rodgers and the Packers lose their first game of the season last week when they got blown out by the Bucs. But don't be surprised to see a different outcome today. Houston may have a problem with a QB who's won his last 5 games after a loss and hasn't thrown a pick in any of them. So, guys, let's talk about teams looking for a bounce-back game today. Teddy, start us off with Packers and Texans.
Yeah, and I'm going to start with Aaron Rodgers, Sam, because he does need a bounce back, especially with his left tackle, David Bakhtiari, being out. It's going to be tougher for him, but I am going to follow his advice, and I'm going to relax. And I'm telling you right now, fellas, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a big game today. He's going to bounce back because that was rare for him to make those mistakes last week. It won't happen again.
Don't relax that much.
Speaking of relaxing right here, this should be easy, right? The Jets, they're terrible. I think the Jets are going to show up today. But the Bills, you got to bounce back. And it's not just Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs. It's all of you, the entire football team. Josh Norman, you're not even going to play. You got to step up. Everybody has to step up, Tre'Davious White included. They got to show up on defense. Sean McDermott, you got to do a great job and have this team motivated. The Bills need it in a big way. They beat bad football teams. That trend has to continue today.
Man, there is a group in New Orleans. Relax. They bet not relax. Teddy Two Glove Bridgewater is coming back. He's familiar with this team. He threw on the scout team. He threw one-on-one. He is very familiar with this secondary. Between Jenkins, Lattimore, Malcolm Jenkins in the backfield, tackling will be key today. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson at the top of the league is stretching that field. Them guys are going to have to show up. Last week's performance will not get it, and no relaxing in New Orleans.
Randy, I love it. You know Teddy did a nice job on scout team last year. This is fun. But let's talk about the Bengals and the Browns. Can the Browns bounce back? Well, yes, they can. How are they going to do it, guys? They're going to run the football. Last time these guys met, it was on a Thursday night game. The Browns could not be stopped in the running game. They rushed for 215 yards. The Bengals defense, quite honestly, they look like they didn't want any of it. The linebackers, the safeties, look like they didn't want any of it. I think they're going to get more of it today.
More on that game later in the show, but for now, it's time for Seconds of Schefter. Take it away, Adam.
Thanks very much, Sam. The NFL, which have been looking into the Tennessee Titans for protocol violations of COVID, has fined the Tennessee Titans $350,000. Also, if there are any further infractions, there would be escalating discipline. The NFL also is looking at the Giants as a team that was out this past weekend. Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Sterling Shepard in a New York restaurant. They're looking into it. They're leaving it to the Giants to figure out first. And while the league looks into that, other teams looking at the Giants roster for potential trades. Golden Tate, Evan Ingram, Kevin Zeiler. We'll see if anybody makes a push for them, Sam.
Thanks, Adam. Well, if there was ever a place for You Got Moss, it's in New York City on the big screen, big stage. Week 7, what do you got for us, Randy?
Sam, it's National Tight End Day, and you better stay tuned. I got one for you. Y'all got my main man, Teddy Bruschi, with me.
Moss.
Week 7 nominees?
Yes.
Let's get it started. Hope you like this, Teddy. First play, Anclon High School versus Tarpon High School. Dominique Marotta goes up over Theo
Carvacairos.
Man, I don't even want to mess your name up. But Mesa Grab in the end zone. Man, over Theo
Carvacairos.
You got Moss. Next play, Southern Miss versus Liberty. Tate Watley throws the ball to the sideline to Jason Brownlee, who catches over Emmanuel Dabney. I see you going sideline. Brownlee, I see you in that all-white young man with that 1 foot down. Hey, Emmanuel Dabney. You got Moss. Brewski, take it away.
Moss, let's go to middle school flag football, Arete Prep and Lincoln Prep. Kyler Moore throws the ball up to Petey Rattan. Petey Rattan goes up. I see you, Petey, over the Lincoln Prep DBs. Give me it one more time, Petey. Lincoln Prep DBs. You got Moss.
I love it, Brew. Next play, Baylor versus Texas. Sam Ellinger throws the ball up for Joshua Moore, who takes the ball in the air for Mark Milton. Mark Milton, I hope your shoulder all right. You got up for it, but this man wanted it more than you. Mark Milton, you know how we say it. You got mossed, Teddy Bruschi. Last but not least, have you ever been mossed by a tight end?
Hell no!
Well, National Tight End Day.
No.
I see my man Bubba Bolden. You should have made a play on the ball. Hey, Tony Poljan. Great young man. You on here. Bubba Bolden, you got mossed. National Tight End Day. I had to save the best
Still got
last.
the
Yes,
foot.
you did.
Yeah, tight end
How'd that
love.
make you feel, Teddy?
Once in a while, a tight end might have got me. Once in a while.
Once
but
in-
very rare.
once-
But like
Very rare.
that?
Not like that, though.
I'm sure
Not like
there's
that.
no footage. All right,
Fonda.
I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, I like to wrap this up slowly, have a good time. I just got mossed by the weather. We're going inside.
Let's go.
Look, a lot of people have gotten mossed in Las Vegas before, the site of the Bucs-Raiders game today. 4-2 Tampa off a big win over the Packers. Raiders off a bye and a win over the Chiefs. With some help from his dominant defense, Brady had a total QBR of 96 in that win over the Packers. That is his highest in a game since the 2014 season. But on the other side, John Gruden will coach against the Bucs for the first time since he was Tampa's head coach from 2002 to 2008. He still has the most wins in franchise history and led him to a win in Super Bowl 37. Our Jeff Darlington is live in Las Vegas with more on this matchup against the Bucs and the Raiders.
Sam, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow the energy of You Got Moss, but I will do my best here. And I want to point something out about this game. We know Antonio Brown won't be here. We also, by the way, know that Tom Brady was paramount, his relationship in getting Brown to the Bucs. But we also want to point out something else. Speaking with Bucs sources, they pointed out to me that the injury situation that's constantly facing the Bucs this year, especially at wide receiver, was a big reason for bringing Brown on. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the whole crew has really been banged up, even Scotty Miller, and they've been on the injury report again this week with limited participation. Here's the good news, though. The rich are getting richer. All those guys will be back, including Leonard Fournette. So the Bucs will get Brown in a couple weeks, but right now they also feel like they have actually a much healthier wide receiving core. One other thing we want to point out here, the Raiders' offensive line, 4 of the starters will be back today. They've been cleared despite having to prepare virtually away from the facility. Right tackle Trent Brown, who did test positive for COVID on Monday, will obviously not be playing in this game, Sam.
Thanks, Jeff. And I think that just confirmed what Teddy said earlier in the show on these Bucs skill position guys, because everybody gets a little more motivated when there's a new kid in town.
Magic healer coming down. The hammy heals
all of a sudden, everybody's feeling all right.
Training table.
But look, we saw a good version of this Bucs offense last week, but it's still been very up and down. Do you feel like you know who this offense is yet?
Yeah, I feel like I say it every week, but they're a work in progress. So some weeks it's going to be outstanding. Last week it was outstanding. Other weeks it's going to look like they're really struggling. I think a couple of things. Number one, I think one great thing if you're a Bucs fan, they're +4 in turnover ratio. Like that alone is going to solve a lot of problems for this team. Last year they finished the season -13. So +4 right away, that's a good thing. But I think that Tom Brady and this offense, and Bruce Arians, the play caller, and Byron Leftwich, they're going to come together as the year goes on. And I think by week 9, they're going to hit their stride and they're going to really understand who they are. I remember for me, I was in the same offense for 13 years. It was like a Mike Holmgren offense. And even after 13 years, I go to my next team, the Tennessee Titans, and Brady, we're talking like 22 seasons that Brady's played, not 13. So he has to sort of unlearn and then relearn. And I think the area where it shows up last, like when you finally master this, that's when you really feel like this is your offense. And that's 2-minute. Like 2-minute, Randy, it's like helter-skelter. You're running down, trips right, scat left. You got Waco, Yuma. I remember when I went after just 13 years, I went to my new offense, and all of a sudden in 2-minute, I'm like, wait a sec, which offense is this? Am I calling the Seattle offense? Am I calling the Tennessee offense? Because the bullets are flying. Your heart rate's going. And I think for Tom Brady, what I've seen at least so far, when he's comfortable and he feels like this is my offense, he's outstanding. But when it's like, wait a sec, this is what we used to call blue, we call that red here, this is what we called green, that's orange here, and he's still sort of translating in his mind, that's where I feel like it's still a work in progress. But there's the future's bright, I think, by the end of the season for this Bucs team.
I agree. But, Sam, what we saw last week was, I don't think they're that good, because it's just that, just hear me out here. What they did was almost like perfection in terms of disciplinary, clean football. No sacks, no turnovers. I mean, no penalties. It's like We
Yeah,
were
that was
complaining
shocking.
about them leading the league, but I'm saying they don't even have to play that good and have those